Hello, friends. How's everybody doing? Hope everything is good with everybody. So, today it's gonna be a little bit of a different video, but good stuff, good stuff. I would like to share some of my spiritual journey with you guys and girls. Stuff that goes like way back to even my childhood. Some of my life stories, life experiences. And then eventually, this is where it got me today. So, as far as I can remember, since I was young, I've always had this like sort of like deep inner knowing. Not that I really share this with anyone really that I can remember of. When you're a kid, you're always curious about things. Some kids ask about, the usual stuff, and others, they may not ask because they kind of know that it's gonna feel a little weird if they ask certain things. So sometimes, you may keep things to yourself, but I've always had these like inner knowing or questioning about what was I really here for? Like, why do we come down here? Because we come from a higher place when we come here, right? Why do we come down here? What is life all about? I remember, I don't know if the Hindu teachings has that too, but as I recall, in Egyptian culture, when they were at their peak, it's always been part of that culture, or it used to be, in those times. They had this belief that when you died, when you went to the next, underworld, whatever they called it, um, the next world, the world of the dead, whatever terminology they used, you would eventually at some point be face to face with the Sphinx itself. And the Sphinx would ask you three questions. And it's pretty ironic because the questions that the Sphinx would ask everybody are some of the questions that everybody usually asks themselves, those very same questions at some points in their lives. So the questions that the Sphinx would ask a person in the underworld, or whatever the name of the place was, would be, who are you? Where do you come from? And where are you going? Where are you going back to? It was something like that, if my memory serves me right. And only people who were spiritually initiated would know those answers, because those are some tough questions. you would have to know your real name, your source name, your higher self name. You would have to know where the source come from, which that's a big question. I don't know the answer to that at all. There might be many answers to that, or there might be one absolute answer. But I haven't developed myself to that extent, and I think there are very few people on this planet that have reached that point. And then the other one would be just as hard, which is where are you going to, or where are you going back to. So the way it worked, according to their tradition and their teachings and their knowledge, is that if you fail to answer those questions with the proper answer, then you would basically, the wheel, the wheel of fortune that they use on the tarot cards, that represents the wheel of samsara, which is this wheel that represents universal cycles that people have to go through. And the way these cycles work, supposedly, is, I believe a person has, I think it's 108 chances, 108 incarnations or something like that, to be able to spiritually develop themselves to the point where it is, the universe, it's complicated stuff. This might be a little dogmatic, because you have to use your own discernment, and probably self-develop yourself enough to verify that information to be completely accurate as it is stated. But according to many ancient teachings and schools of esoteric occult knowledge, they all used to teach these. The reason why I know that is because when I was younger, I was about, in my early 20s, I was a member of a Gnostic teaching school, institute, whatever you want to call it. And I spent probably, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years in there. I spent enough time there that I even became an instructor, and I used to speak about all these things to other people, kind of like, you explain to them how things work, spiritually speaking, to us, to what you've learned and what they teach. And then it's pretty much like a schoolroom, really. People come, and then you just explain to them the whole thing. And then, because it's all new to them, they're gonna have questions. They're gonna ask you questions, and then you would answer the questions. Basically, that's how it worked. So this is something that comes from Gnosticism, but not just Gnosticism. If you read, or if you read, books related to these things, you would know that this is one of the things that they all have in common. The cycles, the wheel of samsara, the 108, lives that is said. That's why Buddhists, the necklaces that they use and things, they have like 108, little things on it, stones, whatever. It's very symbolical, and it has a meaning. So they say that you would have 108 opportunities to become self-realized, the term that's utilized through many spiritual teachings and schools is self-realization. And then if you if when you once you get to your 108 opportunity, you don't achieve that, the way the universe works supposedly is you have to start a whole new cycle. It's like the wheel turns, and then you have to start a whole new cycle all over again. And then yeah, it's a whole process. It's pretty interesting stuff, and then supposedly you go through this like lower planes of existence where the work that you were supposed to do on yourself, because you weren't able to do it by yourself, you didn't achieve that, nature does it for you. It cleanses your soul basically through this like lower planes where there's gonna be some suffering involved and stuff like that. It's yeah, I don't know. It's touchy stuff, like I said, it's a matter of using your own discernment and taking what you feel is right and resonates with you. And if some of the stuff doesn't sound right to you, then don't take it. It's that simple. That's what I did. But yeah, I've done a lot of stuff like that. I've always, but those questions were some things that I've always carried within myself. I've always wanted to know, you know really, who am I? What am I here for? And where are we going? Right? I think we all have those questions at some point, or at least one or two of them. That's pretty normal, from what I understand. Um, so, because of that, I was always looking for answers. I read a lot of different books from different, cultures and all kinds of like spiritually related things. I joined this Gnosticism thing because I really wanted to find out, some answers and stuff. And they teach you a lot of valid things when it comes down to, astral projections and, working on yourself, ego, all of these things. It's very, very interesting stuff. The different planes of existence, which one of your bodies is actually attuned to which one of them, what are they called? There's so many things. Like we have a solar body, we have a lunar body. It's like, and even though we have these bodies, according to the teachings, we don't fully embody them. It's like they're in this like hibernation, sort of like dormant state, because you in order for you to like embody these energies, you have to achieve certain levels of spirituality that require a lot of self-work. And when I mean a lot of self-work, I mean multiple lives, hundreds of lives worth of self-work. It's not a task that is achievable by many. It's very few. That's what they teach. So I'm just, don't shoot the messenger. So this is why you have, these beings that they come here at certain times in the history of the human race to teach us these things, because they are teachers. They have embodied all of those aspects of themselves. They have mastered themselves. They have achieved full enlightened state. A ascended masters, those beings, yeah, those guys, yeah, they're the real deal. And some of these beings, they are still here right now. They live among us. You wouldn't know who they are, even if you walk by them on the street, unless you're attuned with yourself to a certain degree that would allow you to recognize their energy field, their auric field, and how strong and powerful it is. But for the uninitiated, I would say, people, regular people that don't even know anything about spirituality and stuff, they could walk by somebody like that somewhere in the world, and they wouldn't even know who that person was, or how how powerful that person was, like spiritually speaking, like a being that's like the embodiment of absolute unconditional love, and you wouldn't even know it. That's pretty sad. Like like that's really really sad in my opinion, that somebody would walk by someone who would emanate such a powerful energy like that, and yet you wouldn't know because you were so you were so lost within yourself that you wouldn't be able to recognize that energy. But then there are those of us that we still have a little bit of a spark in there somewhere, and it's enough of it for us to like recognize that type of energy and stuff, and that's the beautiful side of things. So I did a lot of reading. I used to I had this phase in my life where, financially speaking, it was pretty bad, and I couldn't even have it. I was like 2 years without internet. Yeah, yeah, you're gonna think that's funny, I know that. But let me tell you, it's funny, but it also taught me that you can live your life perfectly fine without internet if you didn't have a choice, like it was my case, and everything is fine. It's not the end of the world. That's the funny part about it. That's the ironic part about it. So we're so like addicted to these things and so dependent to these things, especially the younger people. Like, imagine a scenario where, you know, let's say something happened worldwide and people wouldn't have internet for like a week. Not even a week, 2 or 3 days. People would lose their minds if something like that happened. People would go psychotic. I could see some people ending themselves. That's how sad the state of mind of some people, the state of being of some people currently is today. Just talking about that, I don't even like to talk about that kind of stuff because it makes me lower my vibration just speaking about it. Like, really, it's awful, but that's how it is today. That's how it is. Like, wow, gee, really, seriously, people have become so dependent on some certain things. It's like put your phone down for a while. Try not to use it that much. I I look at my phone like maybe 5 6 times a day now. That's it. And then I have to use it when I'm doing stuff like this, but I try not to use my phone because I enjoy interacting with other people when they allow me to do that, because that's not going to happen with everybody, obviously, especially when you start to like, you know, raise your frequency to certain degrees and levels. There's going to be people that they're not even going to acknowledge that you're there, and that's fine. You know, you don't need those people in your life. And then there's going to be others that are going to be pulled to you like, you know, you're a freaking magnet. And and that's okay too, but and it's good, don't get me wrong, you know, like for the most part that's a good thing, but you also have to be mindful of your of your energies and things like that, just to be aware, because there there are people out there that if you stay around them for too long, depending their state of being, whatever, it's not going to be that healthy for you, especially if you're an empath. It's, yeah, it can be rough sometimes. I know what I'm talking about, trust me. So yeah, that's kind of like how it goes for us. um, but the magnetic aspect of it is just because it's you, it's your state of being. You end up elevating yourself, right? Yeah, it's weird. This video, I'm like, I was planning on talking about my spiritual journey, and I'm kind of rambling, to be honest, but that's okay. I'm not even gonna worry about it. It's fine. Um, what I was trying to say really is that there there are people out there like us that, you know, we live our whole lives asking ourselves these questions, and sometimes it takes a while to kick in, and we finally, you know, realize what the whole deal is all about, what the whole story is all about. I'm kind of thinking that the next thing I upload, I'm probably gonna share some of my, you know, childhood stories and experiences, because I got a lot of cool stuff to share with you guys, and it's some fond memories that I have, and I think it's gonna be cool. You know, yeah. Sometimes it takes a while, guys. Sometimes it takes a while, and there's nothing wrong with that. Um, Sometimes we have to go through a lot of things until we're finally ready to do whatever it is that we gotta do, whatever with, you know, share whatever it is we gotta share. It's just the way it is, and it's kind of like divine timing, really. You know, man, it's getting hot. I'll tell you that. It's like mid of May now on the East Coast right now, and yeah, it's starting to get hot. I think I'm gonna have to put my AC up on the window over the weekend now, because I don't enjoy the heat at all. I like the cold myself. I'm a cold type of person. Something about my European blood or something. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I like the colds, because when it's cold, you can just, you know, dress appropriately, and it's fine. But when it's really hot, and if you don't have something to, you know, make it feel so you're not melting or something, it's not that comfortable at all. But anyway, I think I rambled enough on this one. A little bit different from my usual format, but there you have it. So with that said, I love you all. Yeah, keep going, folks. It's all good. Like, share, subscribe. You know the deal. I'll catch you on the next one.